here you are creating single moms, and when a lady like this ends up pregnant, and we all know that, things like that can happen. Well, in this case, it's obvious that you led this lady on. And as much as she's silly to get pregnant by you, you were also shooting up the club because you don't want to wear condoms. And you've even admitted that 4 other ladies you were dealing with at the same time could have went through the same issue. That is very
Ain't
problematic,
got no
and
money
this
for
is what you
nobody.
can't get around. So if you're telling your audience one thing and you're living another thing, it means that you don't really care about them. You guys are just doing this for the money, which is something that you should just be straight up and honest with. Look, hey, yeah, we're all, as content creators, we do it for the money. But when I look at Alvin and Preach, and they make a ton of money on YouTube, I don't get that they're in this for the money. They're truly being themselves. I don't feel like they're being gimmicky. I don't feel like they're trying to be salesy. I don't feel like they're doing anything. They're being themselves. And I believe that if I were to meet them in real life, how they are today is how they always are, which means that these are content creators that you can trust. When it comes to Fresh and Fit, I'm sorry guys, these are dudes you just can't trust, because how do you preach one thing and then go and live something completely opposite? It's different if you make a mistake once, but these guys have shown a history of doing this. And what is their response when somebody calls them out on it? Well, hey, like Myron says, why don't you fly in here and let me so I can beat you up? That is so immature, all right? It doesn't make any sense. These are guys who are supposed to be leaders of men, but these guys are fraudulent. I mean, it comes up time and time again, and it's so bad that even their own audience is calling them out. You don't know how many guys used to come after me, little Fresh and Fit fanboys, saying I was jealous and everything like that. But these guys are blatant liars, These guys are liars. And hey, anybody can make a mistake. I can make a mistake. I have made mistakes. But hey, trying to apologize for it, this guy won't even do that. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy Twitter Jackson back at it again. Another episode of the Celebrity Jump. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out. Let the good.
Today, we're going to be talking about nutrient lockout, pH lockout. Today, we're going to be talking about nutrient lockout, pH lockout, what causes them, and how to fix them. When you're mixing and measuring your nutes, there's a lot that can go wrong. The concentrations, but specifically the ratios. If you do it wrong, you waste your nutrients, you waste your money, and your plants don't get what they need in the end. We're going to get into all that. But before we do, this video is brought to you by Real Growers Grow Dots. Grow Dots are absolutely the easiest way to feed your plants. You're making your grow, and they feed all the way to harvest. You don't have to worry about nutrient burn, nutrient lockout. Grow Dots does all the hard work for you. Go over and check them out over at realgrowers.com. And while you're over there, use coupon code
Yo,
SCOTTY20 and save 20% off your first order.
All right, yeah, what up?
You
I'm on
ready?
here.
Come on, let's jump
you
into it,
ready?
man.
Okay, so
Yeah.
assume that
All right, I'm about to search.
just
Send
gonna
an
use
invite.
Grow Dots and take the easy way out.
Let me get in here right
If
now.
you want to know about nutrients, and for me as a new grower, this is
Bet.
one of the
Load
most
up.
intimidating aspects because I see
You
so
loaded
many
already?
ways that this
Nah,
can
I
go
ain't
wrong.
loaded yet.
Sure.
All
Well,
right.
thanks to the internet, it doesn't have to be
Put that shit up
intimidating.
there.
There's lots of great information out there. Do me a favor, hit this picture if you would, really quick.
All right, so I've got this nutrient availability chart pulled up, and tell me what
Just
I'm
join
looking at.
whenever you get right.
All the essential
We'd be in our
nutrients.
dark
Yeah,
uniforms.
that's your big ones: phosphorus,
Bet.
potassium.
All right.
You got calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and you can see where the fattest part is where they can be absorbed. That's the right pH range for them
All
to
right,
be
let's see if we
absorbed.
can get a
And
dub,
you can
man.
see there's some have fat parts
I'm
in the
ready to
beginning,
retire
some
from
have
this
them at
shit.
the end. But if you go between 6 and 7,
Skills
you look
looking
at that
real
biggest well,
suspect
a
these
line
days.
between 6 and 7, you're getting most of that. You're getting the fat part of most of those nutrients.
Numbers 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the base and the acid pH levels.
Yeah, how acidic or basic it is. And the lower you get, the more acidic. pH is the potential of hydrogen. It has to do with hydrogen ions and all that. That's
Okay.
about all you need to know about that.
All right, and so I'm looking and I'm seeing like phosphorus, especially if my pH. Is this pH of my water, pH of my soil, pH
pH of your
plant?
soil.
Okay.
But of course, the water is how you determine the pH of the soil.
Gotcha. Okay, so if my pH of my soil is underneath 6, there's no ability for my plant to absorb phosphorus
Sure.
at all.
Sure.
Same thing with magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm looking at some of the other ones like iron, and if I go above 7, then I start locking it out, and my plant can't absorb the iron past that.
There's absolutely a sweet spot. And thank God it's pretty wide. The range between 6 and 7, as far as pH goes, is a pretty wide range. It's not hard to keep it in there.
Okay, and I've seen you actually test the water.
Sure.
Here you have some kind of like, you drip something in the water and it changes color.
Anyone that had a swimming pool growing up had the little test kit, tested for chlorine on one side and acidity on the other side. It's pretty much the same thing. We're testing for the acidity. You drop a few drops in the, you got like a little mini test tube. You drop a few drops in there. You look at the color, and you just match the color up. It should be somewhere in the green area, at least on my tests.
Okay, and so if I'm doing that, I've got my water, I mix in those drops, I see that either my water is too acidic or maybe too base.
Sure.
How do I fix that?
Yeah, traditionally you would go buy a bottle of pH up and a bottle of pH down. The down is going to be the acid, the up is going to be the base, and you would continually take tests and measure them and do it that way.
So if my water is, say, too acidic, then I'm going to add some of the pH up.
Come
Don't
on,
forget, you got to
Playboy.
add too much pH up, so you got to add some pH down again.
Okay.
I think they use phosphoric acid to bring it down. Is it potassium hydroxide? There's some crazy chemicals that they use that are really high in pH that they'll use to bring it up.
And if I go to my local grocery store, will
Sure.
they know what? Okay, and they'll be able to hook me up and help me out.
Yeah, definitely. Probably $30 a gallon for each.
Okay, so I feel like I have a pretty good idea on how to deal with pH lockout, and now I need to understand something else that you said you were talking about.
Yeah.
Antagonism, I think?
Yeah, antagonism is there's only a certain amount of spots for this nutrient to be held onto a soil particle. Soil particle is a finite amount of space, so to have these on, if you have to have them in the right proportion.
Okay, let me
Sure.
ask you. So I pour my nutrient into my soil. The soil holds on to that nutrient and makes sure that it gets to the plant. Otherwise, it will just flush right out.
Yes, and it does that through. I won't get too deep into it, but it has these charges that hold it. If you don't have those charges, then there's nothing holding the soil. There's positive that bonds to negative, and just like the Earth's a magnet, so is the soil.
Okay, and you were kind of explaining it to me like there's a certain amount of seats available, a certain amount of slots available in the soil to hold the nutrient.
Yep.
And then I kind of got lost. Help me out. Explain it to me.
I try to be really simple. You might hear about CEC, cation exchange capacity. Cat ions are the nutrients, and the nutrients have to be able to be exchanged. If they're stuck on that soil particle, no good. So they have to be exchanged. They actually get exchanged using hydrogen.
I'll try.
That's why if
I gotta
there's
do it,
too
bro.
much hydrogen, potential of hydrogen, pH, or there's too little, that's why it messes up the nutrient exchange.
Okay, and you were saying something about if I have too much of one, it takes up all those seeds, and the other nutrients that my plant might need don't have the ability to bond onto the soil?
Absolutely. We're talking about positive and negative bonds, and if you had, there's double positive